caring for a sick parent, today we're not gonna lie.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of NGL. I'm Natasha.
I'm Zell.
And today we are here to talk about, I think, a topic that might not be very common to people in their 20s. We've invited two very special guests to tell us about their experience caring for a sick parent in their 20s. And the reason why we want to talk about this, even though it might not be a very commonly accessible topic, right? I think because we know people who are in situations like that. That's why we invited you guys. And as Wesley's personal friend, I do also know that it can actually be quite an isolating experience to be going through something like that in your 20s. And as we come back to the idea of NGL, we want to be a safe space for people to know that the things you go through in your 20s, you really don't have to go through alone. Even if there really aren't many people around you who are going through something like that. We found two people to share their stories today. And we hope that through listening to their stories, you would find some companionship, some comfort, and even some insight or encouragement to the journey that you're on as well. So without further ado, we want to introduce our guest. Maybe you can tell our listeners your name.
Yep. So I'm Wesley.
And I'm Christina.
Maybe you can let us know what happened with your mom.
This was quite recent actually. It happened only last August. Yeah. So what happened basically was that while my mom was at work in office, she suddenly collapsed in her office lah. Yeah, so I got a message from my dad saying that my mom got hospitalized on ambulance. In that moment, I was like problem solving mode. Okay, faster book Grab, show up, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. Yeah.
So what were you imagining in your mind? What was the worst case scenario and best case scenario?
Worst case scenario is that my latest WhatsApp message to my mom is the last I spoke to her.
Oh no.
Yeah. And I think it was okay, I can't remember the message, but something I wasn't proud of. It's like, oh no, okay. Now I know for sure what it was. Yeah. My message to her was, hey, can y'all keep quiet a bit? I'm still sleeping.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was like something like that. It was like basically like because I wake up at 9 a.m. for work, but then like my parents are up like from like 7 plus 8. I remember that was on my mind. I was like, wow.
Oh
my last ever interaction with my mother. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Best case is that she's okay.
Best case is I'm dreaming lah. Yeah. So it's a nightmare. Yeah. So I think that was I think there's some things going through my mind.
So for mine, this was in 2019. I was 25 years old then. Around the same age as Wes when it happened. My dad was actually warded for an open heart surgery. So it was a scheduled operation.
Yeah.
So either during or after the operation that he suffered from a stroke. Which is highly uncommon.
Yeah.
I got a call from the surgeon's number. The moment I saw the number, I was just trembling. Then I just sat down on the floor. I think I just had a feeling that there was something up lah. And so I picked it up and then he told me that, okay, I have good news and I have bad news. And I was just like, wow, why you say this kind of thing? That's the worst
like
open.
A drama.
Really? I felt like I was in a drama already. And then he said, good news is he woke up. Bad news is he's not responding at all on his left side.
Oh man.
Yeah, so he said we suspect that he might have suffered a stroke, but we can't confirm because it's late. We have to do the test tomorrow. Yeah. And then I was just like, then he just hung up. Then I was just,
how he expect you all to sleep after that?
And I just sat down on the floor and I was just thinking like, firstly, what is a stroke? Because it just sounds like a very bad thing, but you also don't know how bad it is. So I was just very stunned. I just sat there and then I just told my mom, they said that he might have had a stroke.
Yeah.
And then I think my mom knew. So she just kept very quiet and then she just didn't talk. She just went into the kitchen and then she just...
Actually very scary.
Yeah. And they confirmed that actually there was a blood clot in his brain that caused the stroke, which is why one entire side of his body was not responsive. It results in all these... like your mouth is drooping, your speech is slurred, like you can't control a lot of your bodily functions and all that.
Beyond the physical effects, right? Like how else does it impact? Cognitively?
Cognitively. So for my dad, he there was very drastic personality changes. So he was very emotional. He would just randomly burst out into like either extreme sadness or extreme anger, which he didn't use to display these kind of emotions before. He was very emotionless, in fact. It was just very traumatic, I guess, to see your father being in that kind of state. Because he's just really lying there. He's not really moving. he can't talk also. So it's just very strange to see that someone who has kind of brought you up and that you've grown up with is now just lying there completely 100% dependent on everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is quite a strange feeling, I would say. Yeah.
Wes, you also felt like that when you first met your
Yeah,
mom?
for sure. I mean, like when I first saw her in the hospital, she was like unconscious. So it's like in a very, I guess, pain state, need water, in a very like frail state, which I never ever see her in before.
What could she do last time that she cannot do now?
To be fair, she did a lot of things in the past, like for the family, right? She's like the finance and admin person. She's the one that handles all the finances at home. Insurance, bills, credit card, whatever, right? It's all handled by her. Yeah. So like, and somehow, okay, my mom is very analog, right? Digital divide, right? So she, for all the bank stuff, right, she keeps like all the physical paper bank statements.
My mom
don't
does
use she don't use digital banking.
Every weekend is filing day.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all envelope. It's all
Then password all that write down one, right?
Yes, you write down in like old notepads.
Notebook.
Yeah,
old
oh
notepad.
my gosh, same.
Yeah. No tag or whatever one. You just write down and like, hopefully can find next time. Another of a hobby also is like buy things on Shopee. Last time every day, right, we always got doorbell ring delivery, then small package come our house. I don't know what she buying, but it's always things for the house and the betterment of our family. So
Why you say it like that?
Because that's what she insisted till the very end. So now she cannot handle all these financial stuff. In terms of like cognitive ability, this one I don't know whether it's eyesight or brain, right? But she cannot use Shopee anymore because the interface is so
overwhelming.
convoluted. Yeah, you log in at 2 2 3 3 4 4 5 5 until 12 12, right?
Oh my god, everything's orange.
Really super okay. I mean, this is
overstimulating.
product feedback. Right? Yeah, so now like she can barely use that anymore. A lot of things, and she can't work anymore lah. I mean, we hope that she recover to a point where she can, but she's not working anymore.
Christina, how about you? How did your life change from that day?
Wow. It's a bit like Wesley's situation because my dad is also very analog. And it's like all for analog stuff. And then he was also in charge of all the like household bills, insurance plans and all that, which I had no idea of.
Yeah.
I didn't know like who's covered under what are we paying for, what
Yeah, no 25-year-old would
like
know this
nobody
stuff,
Can't even buy your own insurance yet.
Yeah,
Usually
right.
parents hand all these things over when you're 30.
Yeah. So I had no idea like is our home loan paid for when when the social worker they ask us all these things. Then I'm like, I don't know. I just stay in the house. I don't know anything. Then like the bills is just paid all the time. I don't know. She's like, do you know whether it's gyro or
automatically, right?
What is gyro?
I'm just like, I think it's gyro, but she's like, gyro from where? And I said, I don't know. I don't know which account. I don't know anything. But then I had to print out the ATM keypad.
Serious?
To see whether he can remember like at least where he pressed when he's at the ATM.
Wow.
And then he kept pressing extra numbers. Then I was like, oh no, like he really doesn't remember. But good thing he was analog. So there was like, paper trace everywhere. So then I found all the original like bank PIN numbers and all that. So he writes them down while I was figuring out, are we owing any people money? Is our water gonna get cut
every
off
month,
tomorrow?
Yeah, you still need the bills still need to be paid even when it's in the hospital.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
So it was just having to learn how to do all the admin stuff on the go as it happens.
And you took it on, not your mom.
No, because my mom has been a homemaker ever since I was born. Actually, all of the things that required any like decision making and all that, it all came to me. Like even to the point whereby when they were asking, do you want to discharge your father now? Or do you want to extend the stay? Or do you want to change another medical institution? So they all talk to me.
All these questions is like you
How
have
you
to
know how to answer at like 25?
So it was
So
all
unethical.
these very strange decisions that you just have to navigate through at that age.
Did it feel like overnight you became the head of the household?
I did, yeah, and I had to because before that my dad was also still working. The doctor did say that he cannot work anymore. From that moment that we knew, right, it was the moment I was like, okay, so this is the moment where I am now the sole breadwinner of the family. And you just got to just take it in your stride. There was this one time, right, when he was still in the hospital, then like my mom kind of befriended this old lady who was also caring for her husband in the same ward. This auntie, she asked my mom, she's like, hey, your daughter how old? Your daughter's still not married. Then my mom was like, no. Then she said, then like that how? Like who's gonna want to marry her? Then I was like, before that I wasn't really particularly like struggling with singleness or being alone or that kind of thing, right? Then when I overheard that, I don't know why, like instantly, right, it did something to me. Like I was just thinking like, actually, it's quite true. Although it sounds hurtful, I think she does make some sense
Fair
in that.
point.
Because you do need to find someone who has that kind of tenacity, the kind of
Patience
courage,
even.
patience to be able to stomach all these things. So she was telling my mom, she was like, it's going to be very difficult, then like that, how, that kind of thing. Yeah, so I think over the years, the isolation, the loneliness, it has taken on different forms, not just in the form of like no relationship, but also I think in terms of like sometimes when you are just struggling with the stress or like the emotional burden or like the fatigue of it. Even though you have very well-meaning friends or community around you, it's a very unique kind of experience that you're going through. Just processing that kind of emotions and learning to also like, understand that, my life is no longer the same. My dad is also no longer the same. My family is no longer the same. And this is how life looks like for me now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think actually, right, at the start, it doesn't really hit you yet. Because like, there's the adrenaline of everything happening, right?
Problem
And then,
solving.
Yeah. And then there's also the part where I think in the initial days, the recovery process of my dad was way more obvious. It's more visible. So I think it's when everything else has started to die down and then you have fallen into the day-to-day routines.
Yeah.
I think that was when it really hit me hard. So actually maybe 1 to 2 years into the caregiving journey, then I was just like, so my life is just gonna be like this. Like I come home early, then I just put his medicine for him, prepare the shower chair and all that. Then I'm just so every day it's just like that. Then I cannot do this, I cannot do that. Then I think that was when it really, really got me thinking about what's the perspective do I want to take on to view my role as a caregiver to my father. Because I really felt like if I had continued in that kind of like, okay, don't think, just do, don't think, just do. And it goes on for I don't know how many more decades, right? I don't know how healthy it would be. Yeah. So I think it required a whole like perspective shift almost instantly. Because I felt like the longer I continued to dwell in that kind of space, right, it's just very depressing. So like I at first, right, I wanted to be one of those inspirational people, like even though there's a lot of things going on in my life, like I still want to do this, I want to do that, I want to be able to juggle everything and be the pro multitasker in life. But then I also quickly realized that I cannot. I think
You're still inspirational.
Thanks. So are you? No, but I had to very quickly realize that actually I cannot. I'm falling apart. Like it's really not working out. Like if I have to be at somewhere until a certain timing, then it would mean like my mom would have to do a few extra hours of caregiving on her own. Then you push everybody to like a limit whereby they're all very fed up with each other, very frustrated.
Yeah.
And then you come back and then the house is just, the tension is bad and everybody's very stressed. So then I had to learn that, okay, maybe I really do need to like cut off some commitments outside. I realized that it's damaging, not just for me, but for my mom, for my dad also. Because I think every time if we face him with very like stressful disposition, right? He feels very bad also. He's almost like y'all don't really want to help me out, that kind of feeling. So when I realized that, then a lot of things had to go. And then I realized also that, okay, even though I can't travel like my peers are pursuing a totally different track in life, right? People getting married, people getting in a relationship, buying house, traveling and all that. But I'm just stuck with like my 2 old folks at home. But I realized that for this season, this is my portion to be with my family, to serve my family, to just take care of their needs as they have taken care of mine in the past. I think when I managed to realize that and to just be at peace with that kind of realization, then I think it helped a lot to liberate myself from the whole like, why I cannot do this, why I cannot do that, why my life like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like when it happened, it was a reordering of your priorities.
Yeah, for sure. Cause I think before that, my dad just wasn't really, he's on my mind, but he's not on my mind. You get what I mean? It's just like, I'm kind of okay to just not have him around in my life. When the stroke happened, right, I remembered very clearly when he was in the ICU, then he couldn't talk because he was still intubated. So they gave him a clipboard with a whole stack of A4 paper because the nurse said he keeps asking to write, so they gave him a lot of paper. The first few pages were just random scribblings of like numbers, or like he was just trying to draw the analog clock, that kind of thing. And then one day when I was flipping the clipboard, then there was one page, right? He wrote daughter question mark, wife question mark. Then I was like, what's going on? Then I flipped a few pages more. Every single page after that, he kept writing the same thing. And then after that, when I asked the nurse, then she said, oh yeah, that was when he kept asking, when are y'all coming? Where do y'all go? Where are y'all? Like, how are y'all? Like, you know, did y'all go home? That kind of thing. Then I was just in that moment, right, when I was sitting there, I was staring at the clipboard, I just teared there because I think from not having a relationship with your father since young, and then always growing up wondering whether like you even matter to your father, that kind of thing, right? Then instantaneously in that moment, just with him lying there on the bed and then the clipboard with his writings, it answers a lot of the questions that I had as a child. Yeah, so I think
that he did have you on his mind.
Yeah, that actually my dad does think of me. And then in that moment, right, even though he's not even verbalizing, you know, like, oh, sorry, I was absent, or just, you know, giving you a lengthy speech about his emotions towards you. It's just no need to say much. Yeah, in that moment, everything just falls away, and then you just can't hold anything against him. For me lah, that was how I felt. Yeah.
I guess for you, like, because it happened last year when you were more or less just quite freshly out of graduation. Your mom's also quite young lah. How was it like for you and your family, you know, like overnight going through such a big change?
Yeah, I think it was quite hard to take. It just felt like a very big loss, to be honest, at the time. Given the context that my brother just graduated, I also just graduated a year back. I think we had a lot of hopes and dreams at the time for the family, for ourselves. A bit of context about my mom, and I think many people's mothers also, is that she loved to take photo when we're at family gathering, take picture of food, take picture of family, right? So when my brother graduated, right, we were supposed to take a 全家福, like a family portrait, right? All of us wearing graduation gown. She even like, you know, went down, because I was like, to me it's like, oh my god, it's so extra, right? I don't want to do it. So my mom like own self go and administrate and plan how to buy the gown. So she bought the graduation gown there, just so we can take photo. Then they were planning which photographer to take all that. So like we still haven't got to do that yet, but we were planning to do it already around that time. And you know, it's one of the things that I think should have celebrated. It would have been nice if we had that photo and my mom was also, you know, in her original condition at the time. But then like, you know, we knew that was not going to happen anymore. I think other things also that felt a lot of grief from was like how I think as kids, you know, we all want to, at least for me, we really want to give our parents like a nice retirement. Right? My mom growing up like really emphasized our education a lot, gave a lot for it. I think to a point where they paid for my tuition until like they had almost nothing in their bank account anymore, just because they really wanted us to thrive as adults. So now that we are working, we are making money, we want to give back to them, right? And the best way we know how is like, you know, bring out holidays. Like my mom always want to go holiday, go JB here and there, but we never were able to make time, all four of us, because of our busy schedules. Then it just felt like, oh my gosh, like it felt like that's one of the dreams that we can no longer kind of attain, right? Given that we don't know how mobile she will be, right? After this stroke. And I guess it's a regret because I wish I had made more time earlier, the kind of regrets. So it's just really tough getting used to my mom being in this very drastic change overnight. I was working at Next. I saw this like auntie from afar that looked like my mother. Then a moment, like just a split second in my mind, I was like, oh, is that my mom? Then after that, I suddenly felt very sad because I realized, wait, obviously this is my mom. The person is standing and walking around, right? It can't be my mom. Then after that, I felt even sadder. I was like, why does my mind still think of my mom as someone who is fully able, right? And just make myself more sad, you know, that kind of thing. Why can't I get over it and just accept that my mom is like this? Yeah. So I remember like small things like this were like make me feel very sad, or like I guess dig up that grief again, lor. Yeah. To remember what I felt like I had lost. Yeah. But the truth is, it's not always been this way. Also, like with my mom, like growing up, like I think our relationship was actually like quite strained, especially through my teenage years. Yeah. Strained through teenage years, so a lot of fights. But then like when I became an adult, 20s, like became therefore more distant because we just don't want to fight.
What do you all fight about?
I think I experienced a lot of distrust. Yeah, I feel like, you know, I hope that my mom will trust me and make certain decisions, and when she doesn't, I'll feel very irritated, feel very frustrated, and so, you know, lash out and push back when I was younger lah. Then I think there was still some, like, I guess traces of that even in adulthood. Very small even, like very, like, you know, menial. Like there was one time I was just cooking for myself, right? Then I cooked the vegetable for 2 minutes. Then she go and see, hey, why the vegetable so soggy? Then you say, can next time cook for one, that kind of thing. Then cook for 1 minute can or not? Then I was like, wow, cook 1 minute, 2 minutes, got difference, man. Can you just go and sit down and just want to cook? You know, like, oh my gosh, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah, so I wish that she would just trust me and empower me. And I think I always saw that as like a lack of trust. So I think like when that happened, my mom's stroke happened, you know, when she was first wheeled into the A&E, like in my heart naturally, you know, this desire for independence and stepping up, I guess it became what it was meant to be. Not just that I want to live my own life, but actually I want to step up and be independent so that my mom can count on me. Yeah, and I think that like, you know, all this time I thought I just want to live my own life. But then in that moment I realized actually like the desire of my heart is that my parents can count on me. Yeah. So like when that happened, then I remember like I lay my hand on her, pray for her. Yeah. Then I think the way she responded, it was just like tears and feeling very touched. Yeah, that kind of thing. I feel like, wow, actually this is, you know, what I always wanted. Not just to live life on my own terms and without her, but I want to show her that she can count on me. Yeah. I realized that actually that is what I always wanted lah. So there were times where like I had to like help her handle certain things, like let's say like bank password. So like as I was going through her phone to find her passwords, yeah, then I saw one of the notes in a notepad. It was just titled Moose hardcover case, very good. Yeah, from 2019 or something like this. Yeah. Then actually I suddenly remember why she even typed that. And I'm the only one in the family that has that phone case. Yeah, and it's because I brought it up to her before that actually that's a very good phone case. I'm thinking of buying it. Yeah, and then she like typed it down. Yeah, and I realized that actually along the years, like she typed down just one notepad, right? Just one sentence only, like things that she want to remember about us. Yeah, and that's how I see that. Well, actually, like that's what her care, like, yeah.
Got cry?
I'm crying now. That's what her care looked like all these years. Yeah, it's not like her, like, you know, trying to like smother us, but she really wants to get involved in every detail of our lives. Like what kind of focus I want to buy. Yeah, you know, where I study for my exam, whether I cook my vegetable 1 minute or 2 minutes. You know, that's how like she shows her care for us. Then it's only through this, like, I guess through these experiences that I realized like my mother's love for me, for us as kids. Yeah, also. So it's two sides lor. Me realizing what my desire really was, that is to step up and love my mom, and also realizing what my mom's desire really was to care for almost every detail of our lives. Yeah.
I think it's just, I'm very touched and amazed that, I mean, this topic about caring for our parents included such an unexpected but important healing journey for yourselves. Like, I mean, I never imagined that as we talk about caring for our parents, right, in our 20s, that somehow this experience also, you know, brought out certain maybe desires that you all had as children that you may not even think you have, or it's just buried, right, through like just being resigned to how our families are like. But something so, I guess, so that just derails our world, yet brings up like this kind of such important healing
Yeah.
that you
For
guys need.
sure.
Yeah.
Now I can kind of see how like you guys can so willingly feel that gap of caring for your parents and not hold, anything in the past against them. I mean, to me, I was just like, why would anyone want to do that, especially if you're hurt, by your parents or you don't understand certain things. But I think hearing how you guys experience their love through such unexpected ways, like, going through passwords in your phone, and for you, it's like that stack of A4 paper.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm just so glad that you both had that, before the start of the caregiving journey lah.
Yeah.
All these things that you had to give up, like what is the thing that, makes it worth it for you both?
Wow. I think for me, right, really is the restoration that has happened between my dad, my mom, and I. Because really before the stroke, right, I think my biggest dream in life was that one day our family would be like restored. I don't even remember how or when it started, but we were just like, becoming more and more distant from each other. And almost got to a point whereby you just have no more hope anymore. Like you just, you're so resigned to it. Like, oh, my dad is like that. My mom is like that. My family is like that.
Yep.
Right? So you don't see any hope for your family in that department of, reconciliation and restoration. But it was also out of this entire incident, right? My dad falling sick and needing our care and not being able to continue working and support the family, was through all these things that out of it came out like the biggest plot twist or blessing, which was that just somehow, overnight our relationship was restored. Yeah, and it didn't require any of those like long speeches. It didn't require a grand speech. It didn't require any elaborate displays of emotions or any action. But it was just simply in that moment when you look at your father being so vulnerable and dependent, yet in that state, right? Actually, he's still looking out for you, for my mom. I think with that realization, it's like almost instantly you let go of all that, all the baggages that you were carrying, and all the hurts, all the questions that I ever had about my dad, about my family. Yeah, and I think that was the first step towards healing in the family. And out of that, right, it was from there, then you just see like, my mom, she just goes to the hospital like from morning until night every day, just to go there. Then she'll like, massage my dad, make sure that the blood flow is, the blood is circulating, that he's being taken care of. Then she'll bring him fruits, bring him yogurt, that kind of like taking care of a child basically. But she does it without any complaint. And this is against the backdrop that they weren't even having a good relationship prior to this. Yeah, so I think it was seeing all these very like things that you would never imagine, you would never dare to dream about happen before your own eyes. I think it made me realize that if I were to like list out all my misfortunes, right, it will sound very bad, there will be a lot of it. Like everything sounds bad. Everything is very, very gloomy. But if I look on the other side, if I were to count my blessings, the good things that came out of this, they are just way more bigger and more beautiful than everything else that, almost to the point that the bad things don't even matter. Like, it's just, it pales in comparison to the good that has come out of that situation.
Yeah, I think similar to Christina, focusing a lot more on what we have gained instead makes it relatively easy. Yeah, and as I mentioned, how the restoration of my relationship with my mom, right, is something that I received after the my mom's stroke, right. Like to me, I think also to my mom, like it's been a great blessing. So much so that it almost feels like we understand why the stroke happened, right? Not saying that, oh, now I'm glad my mother got a stroke, but then I'm glad that despite having a stroke, there is so much good that has come out of it. Yeah. Like, and it's also very simple things. It's not like, anything very extravagant, but as simple as how, like, now I get to sit with my mom and talk to her, things that I never did for the past 10 years, that we sit down,
hold her hand.
talk, hold her hand also, because like she needs to walk with a walking stick and needs someone to support her. So then I hold her hand and walk. Then I asked her, are you tired? Like one time I was asking her, because she walk a lot, right? My mother don't like to sweat. Yeah, so like I asked her, Ma, tired or not? Then she say, not tired lah. Hold my son's hand, I'm very happy already. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, but she bluff on her left hand cannot feel anything. Kidding. Yeah, she knows she's holding my hand. Yeah, she knows she can see. Yeah, no, but she sees the sentiment and we're actually holding hands. That's why I know her left hand cannot feel anything. But we just hold hand and walk to the mall, that kind of thing.
Cute.
But I enjoy these kind of things that, a lot of children talk about having their parents that I honestly never really had since I grew up. Yeah, and like now I'm getting to live that, and even if it is post-stroke or not, right? I'm glad that I got to anyway lah. However long she has left to on this side of on earth lah.
I'm just curious, like, has it changed the way you relate to your dad? Like having this experience with your mom, being able to, I guess, reflect on how things used to be.
Yeah. I think my dad now, like since my brother and I also all grown up, like it feels like we're a team now. The three guys. Remember when my mom first got hospitalized? Then it's like, wow, the three of us will be playing like a team. Okay, who go and do this? Who go and do that? And like, wow, 3 men of the house, like in full problem solving mode. Yeah. Then also go and cry in our own room. After that, so like I only know this cause I went to my dad's room and I saw he locked the door. Like first time I see him lock the door, then I go in and I see that she is crying alone. Then like he shared with me some of his like hard stuff. And I see my dad cry before in my life. Like it's my first time in my life seeing my dad cry. Also, then I think like feeling more of a soft spot for him also since then. Yeah, I think the person in my family that feel the most stressed out of this, my dad also lah, because he's really the one that take on the most things. Yeah, and he's very like faithfully taking care of my mom also. Yeah, but I think like it gives me a new form of respect for him also. Even though like he's not like perfect at like organizing things, he still learn how to plan things. He doesn't have a calendar, right? Still, like we'll get there. Yeah. I don't think it's a calendar. I've never seen it in my life lah. Yeah, but then like I see how he really stepped up. And it shows me like what I guess a good husband can do like also. A lot of admiration. That I only see like show up in time of crisis like that. So he's been a great role model. Yeah. Something I never like I guess deeply considered before. Yeah.
I think we managed to hear quite a lot of your stories. Shed some tears here and there. Wondering like as we
who's supposed to cry?
Christina Strong's here.
I'm holding it in.
We've covered quite a bit of things. I was just wondering before we close off the episode officially, right, whether you guys have any concluding thoughts that you might want to share with our listeners.
Yeah, I think especially for listeners who might feel like their entire world just derailed, they might feel quite lost about what to do next. They also could be like only child. So overnight, maybe it's just very overwhelming on all the things to take in. So any advice or encouragement for them?
I think, everyone has a unique situation. At least in my case, right, I think that if we allow our priorities to be reordered and see that actually family and relationships can be more important than just what kind of life we want to live, the kind of life we want to forge out for ourselves, actually, it can be a very welcoming change. It can be very, in a way, rewarding as well, right? I think at the end of the day, right, we would all rather look back and be confident that, hey, actually, I'm glad I enjoyed my time with my family. I'm glad I loved my parents more than me saying like, I had a great career and I managed to visit the Maldives or something. The Maldives, yeah. So yeah, I think yes, there will be maybe drastic reordering of priorities, but they can be welcome ones as well. Yeah, if we lean into that and embrace it. Yeah.
I would say for people in similar situations, it's very important to be kind to yourself. I think sometimes we might take it upon ourselves to make sure that, I want to make sure that everyone is taken care of. I want to make sure I'm like the perfect caregiver, like cater all the meals properly, make sure that all the needs are being fed, medications are on time, go for every single appointment, things like that. Sometimes we take ourselves too seriously. I mean, even though it is a very difficult and challenging situation, but I feel like maybe we should just kind of lessen the expectations that we have on ourselves. Because if you as the caregiver, you are not caring for yourself, then it's going to be very hard for us to be able to care for our parents as well. And they can feel it actually. Yeah. So I think, they feel bad also, like how come, she seems so, 不甘愿 to do all these things. Like, I feel a bit paiseh. And then they don't have to vocalize certain needs that they might have. Yeah. So I think it's very important to just be kind to yourself. Know that you are doing your best. You are doing a good job. And you're just trying your best lah. Nobody knows everything. And caregiving is not something that you can be 100% skilled in. I mean, unless you are like a professional.
Mother Teresa.
Yeah. But otherwise, I think a lot of these things, nobody teaches us about them in school. So we just take things step by step. And even though not every day is a good day, but also not every day is a bad day with caregiving. So I think just being able to take note of the fact that all these precious moments that we are sharing with our family, even in all these very trying situations, I think at the end of the day, when we look back on our lives, I think the moments that we share, the relationships that we build, right? I think at the end of the day, that's really the most important.
The most rewarding.
Yes, for sure.
Thanks so much for sharing your stories with us. I think whether or not we have actually been in an exact same situation, I think there was something that we all resonated with today. And I think for our listeners, we are very aware that there are many different medical conditions out there. What we have represented on the couch are two pretty similar cases of stroke and having recovered relatively okay from it. But we do know that many different people have different experiences, and the extent to which you participate in caregiving can also be quite different. So I don't think our intention here today was to be able to adequately cover every single person's experience and emotions. But we hope that if anything, you see that there are also other young people who are going through similar things. And we really, really hope that you get to find people who can support you, whether it is an official support group of caregivers or even things like, dropping us a DM to share about your experience if it's something that's very unique and you haven't really had the chance to verbalize it. So we want to offer you that safe space, and please feel free to just take it up. So thank you so much for joining us on today's episode. If you know somebody who is giving care to a parent who is sick, who may be feeling quite lonely in this journey, please feel free to send this episode along to that person, and hopefully it will also encourage him or her. So thank you for joining us today. You can find us on all our different platforms. Zell, have a go.
So we are on YouTube, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And you can also follow us on Instagram and TikTok, where we share snippets or even some behind the scenes of our shoots as well. And you can also join our Telegram channel, where we'll post updates on our upcoming episodes.
Yes.
So with that, we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye-bye.